evening. How are y'all doing?
And that's just a little. That's just a little too loud. You know what I'm saying?
It was
Just a
awful
little.
loud. I'm like,
Oh
God,
my God.
dang. And I didn't know whether I should puff and pass or just pass. That was horrible. Jesus.
I don't even know what
We're
that
gonna
means.
we're gonna fix that by next week. I'm sorry. Woo, man. I will say now the graphics are spot on. Love them, love them. That music was about 1 minute and 48 seconds, way too long.
And by we need to fix it, he means me.
Right.
Because
Well, you're
his
the one
lazy
that
butt ain't
you're the
gonna
one
fix
that
it.
spilled it. You're the one that spilled the milk.
That's right. You
Yep.
you smelt it, you
I,
dealt it.
I need some milk.
Right.
He needs his milk.
I need to get that working again. I can't believe that I don't have a soundboard.
That is sad. That
Well,
is
in the
sad.
space that it was right here, I got my spectrum analyzer and my oscilloscope on a dual shelf system.
Ooh, you fancy.
Well, so now I've got no place to. I literally I couldn't put a pencil on the desk. I don't have any space for it.
Wow. I just got this little red box for all
Well, you know,
mine.
son, you move out the trailer park, you'd have more room.
Right.
I know, but I wouldn't be with my people. Right,
Boys.
We wouldn't be able to keep an eye on his cooking going on over there.
right. Hey, speaking of
Cooking?
what's cooking, I got this in the mail today.
Is that like
Yeah.
a
Network-
personal grooming manscaping product?
I think that's
No, it's a
manscaping
network
product.
cable tester multimeter 2-in-1,
Whip it
know
out,
what you-
son. Whip it
and
out.
it's
Whoa,
it's
whoa.
high quality,
Family show. Family show.
good experience.
Oh, no,
That's
this is the
only-
Noir show.
This is the
Oh.
This
Oh.
is After Dark, baby.
We could actually have
Okay.
Carlos on this show and it would be okay.
Right, without a warning,
No
a
way.
child warning.
Well, I was reading on this, and it says one of the things it does is it
I'll be right
measures
back.
length. It says it measures length, and I was like, I should send this to Jim because I know he's into that. He likes measuring lengths. I'll send this to him.
Right.
You had a video on that, right? And so I was like, I'll send this to him after I figure out how it works.
In freedom units.
Yeah, in freedom units. That is. Are you going to do a video on that? You going to do a
I have
review
to.
on that? You
I have to. I agreed with my buddy that I would do a video on it, and so this I forgot about it, and then it was in the mail today.
That is. That's awesome. If that does half of what the picture promises, that'll be.
Well, it's
great.
got all this stuff on the back too, but I can't read it because I don't have my splaying glasses.
Well, it's network stuff, and I understand you don't really,
Network length measurement.
Engineer, manager.
Right.
Engineer, manager.
So I don't know. We'll see what it does.
Yeah, I gave
Son,
him
your
some-
glasses are on the table.
I gave Abe some crap about that earlier when he showed me that today, and I said, "Well, you're not really networking, son. I manage the worldwide global VPN group." And I went, "Yeah, I know a
did.
guy that managed one for the Air Force, and he can't network his way out of his own."
Listen, man,
Wi-Fi router at home."
the guy from Cisco called me so much I had to tell him to stop. I was like, "Look, you keep it up, I'm gonna have to call your boss on you. I'm gonna call the police."
Ooh.
Somewhere right here. Oh, here they are.
Yes, Hollywood, I am feeling better. If y'all didn't know, I had Rona popped up last weekend. My third go round with it. Third. And this time I called my doctor and I got put on
Woke him up.
Paxlovid.
Nice.
I got these babies
Oh,
too.
those are cool.
Yeah, man. Well, what's nice about them is I can look down and I can see out this space up here. So if I need to see regular, but then I just look up a little bit and then I can see through the.
And what's also good is that you do have children, so I know you've already reproduced.
Yeah, I was
Right.
going to say, those are BCGs, man.
Because otherwise, you ain't going to see none for a while.
These actually have 5 different lenses on them. They go all the way from 1x to 3x. I think it's 1x, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3.
Those do look decent. Those look better than the ones I got. I got some Harbor Freight ones that are like black plastic, and they have little tiny lenses that go
More
right in
lime.
front of your
That's
eyes.
right, Ron.
Yeah.
Ron gets it.
What's Ron saying?
What's wrong?
Says you need more lime. He's right.
I don't get that.
You put the lime in the coconut. You drink them both together.
But yeah, these are pretty nice. I was using them the other day. I had to do some quick soldering, and I put these on, and it
So now, where
made
do you
all-
swap out lenses? You just pull them out of the middle there? and-
yeah, it just comes out right here. So I just go like that.
Okay.
Professional.
See? Yep. And these were cheap. I got them on Amazon. I don't remember exactly what they were, but I was surprised at how cheap they were.
Hey, can you put those back on for a second?
No, it kind of makes me feel like I've been drinking. You know what I'm saying?
It is Thursday night.
Uh-oh. Look at this.
Did you
I
get your
just
finger
noticed
stuck in
there's
him again?
Nope. See, there's 2 wires right there. See that black and red wire?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Does it light
The
up?
wires mean electric. It means it's electric. Had no idea.
That means that they're watching what you're doing and sending it off to China.
You just got to monitor it. Well, there's a switch here. Now
Well,
I got
get
to
some
take the
batteries,
damn thing.
son. Put them on.
Or
Come
I
on.
got to take it apart.
Why he's taking
Suspense.
it apart?
The suspense is killing me.
I'll figure it out. Give me time. Tell a story, Tio. Keep them entertained.
So I was up on my roof earlier today because I got the Starlinks, and I have too many tall trees in the area, and there ain't no good spot on my roof. So I'm gonna have to sell my house. If anybody's looking for a house in Luck, Wisconsin, call me because I can't sell the Starlink. I got to sell the house.
It takes 2 AAAs right there, but I don't have any AAAs.
Make
for
it
you.
happen, Captain. Come on.
Get those Eneloops.
I don't even know where they are. You have to let me think about it for a minute. But I was interested in that Starlink, but I don't like the idea of having to take that dish with me when I'm on the road. You know what I mean?
It packs down.
Now,
No, I get you, but like if I mount that dish on the roof, that means if I go on the road, then I got to get my ass up on the roof and then get the dish down.
Well, then you
Right.
got to get 2. It doesn't need to go on the roof. It just needs to.
But how
see
much
the
is
northern
the disc?
hemisphere.
It said it was $6, right?
I mean,
It
you know
is.
you can reach the sky from the ground, right? You don't have to put the thing on the roof.
Yeah,
I don't think you got that part. I'm not
I started by
Listen.
putting it on the ground.
Yeah, well, I mean that's for testing,
Hey,
right?
Raven.
But I mean, I would put it on the roof because that's the way I do business. It would look good.
And then you got to run that wire through the roof. You gonna cut a hole in your roof? You're gonna run?
I
it
don't
off
want
the
to cut a
ledge,
hole in my roof.
off the eave.
I'd have to figure something out.
Cut a
You know,
hole,
Chuck
man.
might have green screen turned on, but no green screen. That might be part of it. He's got a setting problem.
Yeah, normally Chuck's camera's on point. I got to tell you, Chuck, I would feel bad for you, but normally you're always all back there with your
Yeah,
your
I don't
good.
know what's going on with it.
And your videos, I mean, your video on your YouTube videos is perfect. You got that soft focus, the bokeh in the background. I mean, I'm like,
The bokeh or the tone, if you listen.
You know what,
to one guy.
Hollywood? I just got this joke. I'm sorry. Haha. I'll laugh now.
Hollywood sent me a message about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, and it was a link to this magazine, CB magazine. I want to say it was called 5'9", but it wasn't. It had a different title to it. But these magazines were published like in the 60s.
was it a
and
gentleman's magazine?
No. There's like a CB magazine, and
Okay.
I
No,
got
it
to
had
tell you,
pictures.
I've been
Yeah.
reading it, and the articles in there are super technical. More, a lot of them are more technical than what you see in the QST today. And it was crazy. But I guess back then you had to have a license to use CB. I don't know what I don't.
Yes, you did.
S7, that's what it was. Thanks, Hollywood.
When my dad was into CB.
Oh,
in
S9.
the
It is
50s and
S9.
60s. And when he passed, of course, all that stuff, all that junk was sitting around the house. So I dug it all out and started hooking it up. We still had the CB antenna hooked to the house. I mean, a base station.
Well,
Now,
we're gonna have to
CBs
do
were
a-
about these CBs were about 4 U's high and about 10, 12 inches wide tube. And you did not, when I first started illegally talking on the CB in the 70s as a teenager, everybody just made up a handle. You know, breaker there, raccoon eyes, come back for Goldfinger, go ahead. You know, just made stuff up. But then in the late 70s, the FCC just said to hell with it. Y'all don't have to have a license. Go with God. We don't
Yeah.
care. Actually, they gave them away free for a while. You're supposed to have a license. You had to pay for it. Then they just said, screw it, fill out the paperwork. And then they just said, screw it. No more
I thought it was
license.
always
You know-
free.
You know,
No,
fellas,
it was not.
Just a second here. Jim with his Rona voice sounds like a very couth Southern gentleman.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know about
Thank
all
you
that.
very much. My
Sound like
Rona
you should be
voice.
asking for some Grey Poupon.
Well, I'm gonna get upset about the South and country music in a second, but
I hate country music, so rock on with it, man. I don't
So,
care.
so what I was fixing to say though is that this
Yeah.
magazine that he sent me has all these different articles about building kits like reflection. What are those things called? Like an SWR meter and
Reflectometer.
yeah, those kind of things. There's tons of them in there. So we'll have to. I just saw my stuff cut out. We're gonna have to find a project out of this magazine and put something together for one.
Oh,
of those
yeah, that'll be good.
Saturday shows.
Nice.
That'll be great.
So last night, I guess the country music television had the country something or other festival on TV.
The
And
crannies.
yeah, and so we had to watch some of that. Now, Billy Ray Cyrus, who's the achy breaky guy from the 80s or 90s, I don't even know when it was, came out.
90s.
And he used to be like this
Breaky, breaky, hard.
clean cut country dude. And then his kid, the Hannah Montana show, my daughter used to watch that when she was younger.
White trash girl.
Well, I mean, the dad just would come out and he looked like a regular dad. You know what I mean? Well, he came out on the stage last night and he had like this big old prickly beard and this long crazy hair, and he had on some hat. He looked like Skinner. I was like, this guy looks like he could be on stage with Skinner. And I'm a little personally offended because I feel like he was wearing a costume instead of being his authentic self. You know, that's the big thing these days. Everybody wants to be their authentic self. Well, he wasn't, because that's not what he looked like when I seen him in the past. So
Was that Billy calling?
it was.
Was he going to have words with you?
Be like,
was
you
Hannah Montana.
you better stop
Don't call
talking
me
mess,
out.
boy.
Don't
You
call
better
me
stop
out on
talking
show,
mess.
boy. Your 30 viewers are going to.
That was
Get
Hannah
a whip
Montana.
Yeah, it was him.
I mean, I don't think he ever had an. I'm not a country person. I'm not. I mean, I like some old songs, but it's just a few songs. But I don't think he
Well-
ever had another hit of any kind after Achy Breaky.
Well, that's what he sang last night. But somebody's got to Google
That answers your question right there.
Billy Ray on the CMT Awards last night,
Greatest
and he looked
hits.
like I went so far as to pull up the video of Skinner singing at the Alabama, whatever it was, State Fair. What is that video when they
That's
sing?
the Oakland Coliseum. The
Yeah, when they
Freebird
sing
video.
Freebird. Yep, that's the one
That's
I pulled up.
Oakland in '76.
And I was like, you can't tell the difference between these boys and Billy Ray Cyrus. But that's when he was getting all popular, he was disco Billy Ray Cyrus. He wasn't Skinner. So I was just upset about it.
You know, Kiss had their disco moments too.
Yep. Which is, at the time, I liked it, but it was shameful.
Tonight's tribute to Billy Ray Cyrus. brought
There,
to you
at the
by
bottom,
Smokin' Ape.
go right here, down here at the bottom.
Oh my
at the
God,
bottom.
the bottom right.
Yep. I for a minute, I thought it was free. I was like, are they singing Freebird? What's
Not
going
that
on
one.
here?
That one. Look at him.
Right. He's a big phony.
Big phony.
Oh
Phony.
man,
But I
that's
couldn't
amazing.
believe it. Or look
What
up,
were we
look
talking
up
about
one.
tonight?
Look up one, the third one in. Oh, go back. The third one in on that row. The third one from the left.
That row.
Yep. See, that's not as bad, but still, I mean, that's not
kind
achy.
of-
That's not achy breaky Billy Ray.
That's got shades of
kind
Kenny Loggins.
Yeah, I was kind of. Yeah, I'll go with that.
See, like this
Like-
one, that
like
one
that
right
What is
there.
that
See
one?
that?
That's
That's where he
George
looked like George
Michaels.
Michael. Like he was like George
That's
Michael of
exactly-
country music, right? Like he's going to be like, you got to have faith. You got to have faith in country music, boy. But
Last
I just-
Christmas. Oh, go down. Go back. Go back down. Go back down. Go back down. One more. Bottom right. With the glasses. Don't. No,
Oh.
son.
There
There you go. Right there. That's the Bo Cephas achy breaky heart right there.
So I'm not.
That's Hank Williams Jr. achy breaky.
I
Oh,
think
he's
that this
changing his
guy's
name.
Is he
changing
changing-
his name to?
He's probably changing his name to Billy Ray Skinner.
This is not the Billy Ray show,
Billy Ray
boys.
Skinner.
Abe started it. I'm just like,
Let me get this
I'm being
joke
drawn
off
in.
the screen.
I'm being drawn in. I can't help it. We're going to talk about pies tonight. Good Lord.
These things.
Pies.
Whip out your pies, fellas. Whip them out.
Apple pie?
I got this pie right here.
Pie down.
Pie down. Charles, you're pie free.
I got one someplace.
Chuck don't pie.
about-
Chuck, do you even
about-
pie, bro?
Isn't one of,
How about this
one of these
thing?
things kind of a pie?
What
That is a
I got-
that
That's
is
an
a
Arduino.
Yeah,
Arduino.
I got
Arduino.
one here someplace.
Lemmy Ray Cyrus.
I've got
Ooh,
a pie
Brian,
here
that's
someplace. I don't know where it's
That's
at.
nice.
I forgot to get it out. Sorry.
I always ask myself when I'm presented with a conundrum, I say, what would Lemmy do?
What would Lemmy do? Here's the Lemmy.
how would he handle a situation like this? I guess trash a hotel room and all that. But
Right? At least one hotel room. I mean, Skinner, you know the dead guys are up there partying like crazy.
yeah,
So
Dutch apple pie.
we sometimes act like we have a plan, and sometimes we plan to have a plan, and sometimes we just
You ain't got no plan.
Ain't got no plan, and we make it up as we go. You
What's
decide
tonight,
which
Randy?
one's happening tonight.
I mean, I thought we had a guest until 10 minutes before the show.
That's right. You did.
Well,
But
we tried.
Ooh, yeah.
I work in IT, and some of the guys, look at that.
Oh man.
Some of the guys at the
Fresh
shop
nice.
are the pocket protector types. And one day we were all huddled in a conference room working on project stuff. And this guy's like, "Hey, I've got I bought one of these Raspberry Pis. I'm building a weather station in the backyard." And he was talking all about it. And I'm looking it up. I'm like trying to figure out the difference between an Arduino and a Raspberry Pi and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to order one of these jokers, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And I ordered it. It came. I installed Raspbian on it, and probably made a YouTube video at the time. And I was, remote controlling it, but I was like, it's not really strong enough to use as a computer. A few weeks later, I saw a Pi-Star video on YouTube, and
all
I was
over.
hooked. It was all over. And so I've got a couple of these things set up as Pi-Star hotspots. This is, I can't remember this, something 4, CG4, maybe. I don't remember the
Yeah, C4 Labs.
C4 Labs case that I put on here. Now, all these, I've used these cases in a lot of different builds that I've done, but you always got to drum on them a little bit. They always need a little fit done to them. But
Is that one of them cases that's like the little layers that you had to put together?
Laminated.
yeah, it is.
Pain in the butt.
It was,
Well,
and the thing is,
some
they
of us
put
have
like this.
Big enough brains we
Hey,
can do it.
there's paper on here that you have to peel off. But I got to tell you,
That's
man.
even worse.
So this is a Raspberry Pi 3 B. It might be a B plus. I don't know. But they're like $40 at the time, and I got this for like $35, $40. Case was like another 25, so like 110, 115 bucks. I had myself a pretty nice little hotspot here. I don't use it for anything else. Like some people are like, well, I use mine as a logger.
I guess
or
that's
cat.
one. I've got one in a hotspot.
Well,
One of those little cheap ones.
they're a lot of fun to play with. I mean, there's a whole lot of projects you can do with them. And yeah, they used to be, $30. For 50 or $60, you could get the Pi 4, 8 gig, maybe $60. And now you're required to donate a kidney, a living child, and $1 million to get one just about.
And $1 million.
And
I usually
$1 million.
use the Pis as like a single use device, though. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
if I,
yeah.
No, I've got buddies that build like these Pi clusters where they've got like, I'm
Yeah, I
running
don't know what to do with
Kubernetes.
those.
I'm running
Kubernetes.
Kubernetes on my Pi cluster. I'm like,
Kates.
but what are you running on that?
I got
Plex.
Docker.
Plex.
And then
Yeah,
what?
Plex. They're always running Plex. Is that what Thump runs? Is Thump a Plex guy on a
I got to tell you,
Kubernetes
man,
Pi
today Thump
cluster?
was selling me hard on Plex. He's like, you need a Plex server. So I went onto the website. I don't know anything about it, and I was like, damn, I can watch Plex. I can watch Plex right now while I'm sitting here relaxing. And so I was watching some old westerns on Plex. I was like, reach for the sky, Pilgrim. It was pretty good stuff.
What is that? What is Plex?
Oh my lord, it's a service.
OM alert.
I have-
OM alert.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right, whoop whoop.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But they don't do that where you live at.
All the time.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
Plex is a service, like a cloud service. But you can also install a Plex server, like on a machine in your house, like a Raspberry Pi with storage connected to it.
Or a real computer.
And then you can connect your smart TV, has a Plex client that you can put on there. So like
okay.
if you wanted to watch your YouTube videos, you could serve them up on the Plex server on your Pi and then watch it.
Right,
From
That's what you do. You watch your YouTube videos. Is that what?
all day,
Is that
all
what
day
you're
and
watching?
day.
You
Yeah.
could, and one of the biggest uses is like he's talking about as a media server. If you have digital copies of non-copyrighted
Legitimate.
material that you wanted to watch, legitimately licensed copies, you put them all on your local PC, and then when your wife wants to watch, Tears of a Clown or whatever the hell she watches, she can queue it up and watch it on the TV in the living room because it talks to smart TVs. And if you pay for the Plex service, you can watch your stuff from off your local network, like
But then
at
you
your
could share
office
it
or
with me
whatever.
too, and I could watch
Right.
whatever it was you were
That's
watching.
right.
I could know all of. Never mind. I don't want to know.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to watch what
I'm
Jim's
done.
watching. I've got a feeling.
I don't want
that
to watch
it's-
what. No, you don't.
I got a feeling.
I got a feeling that it's not holy.
Oh my lord! There it is. There it is.
You better watch your damn mouth, Joe Brett. It wasn't me. I'm innocent on this whole deal.
Flagpole.
If I had anything to do with it, it was a joke that accidentally got posted as a real deal. I'll just leave it at
Well, it's
that.
because you spelled pie wrong. That's how we know it's you.
Right.
No, that's the way I spell pie.
Yeah, not this pie, that pie.
But the thumbnail was I purely was playing around, joking around.
I still think you should have put a pie underneath it, like a apple pie or something.
Like an American pie.
Yeah,
Like in the
American
White
pie.
Snake video.
Yeah.
The white-
That's exactly right.
Miss American pie.
Or the
Sam, all is
warrant, or the
great. How
warrant
are you?
video.
Oh, that's what I meant. Warrant. What did I say? White Snake.
You said
White
white
Snake.
Well,
Warrant.
I
It's all the
was-
same.
well,
It's all the same thing.
You know, here I go again with Tawny Katane back in the day. Boom.
Oh, on the
that was
on
awesome.
the car upside down. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The only reason to have MTV
bad.
for the 5 or 6 years they showed good videos. So anyway,
MTV 's
Raspberry
awesome.
Pis are single board computers or SBCs, and a Raspberry Pi is made by the Raspberry Pi Corporation. I think it's a company of some sort.
The founders.
Foundation, son. It's
Foundation,
British.
that's right.
It's British
Foundation.
words.
And they're sold. They're sold by a bunch of different places. You can get them on Amazon and Pi Shop and Pi Maroni and 20 other boutique distributors. And like Ape says, a lot of people use them for single-use things. So KM4ACK, he uses a Pi for all his ham stuff. So he's got, his scripts and everything build out a whole Raspberry Pi to use portable with logging and WSJTX and Vera and WinLink and blah, 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 blah. So that's one use. And then hotspot is another very common use among amateur radio people. Absolutely. And the beauty of these things is even the older ones, which are as hard to
Hey,
find
Marvin.
as the new ones, will run hotspot software just fine. Steve, do you have one of the... I didn't think to bring my little one in here. Is that a 0?
No, this is a Model A.
That's a Model A?
Yeah.
So that one Steve's showing is quite elderly. That's like circa 2011, 12, something like
Yeah.
that.
So can you like run your don't guys run their FT8 stuff off of that somehow?
Yes.
Yes.
So you can use this for your computer, and it has USB. Now this is not technically a Raspberry Pi. This is a different one, but it'll have USB on it. This one has a wired network connection, USB 2.0, USB 3.0, HDMI, audio. Come on, focus, baby.
But then you have to have a screen too, right?
If you're using it in that mode,
For like
yes.
FT8.
Yeah, you got to be able to get to it. Yes.
Which model was
That's
that
right.
again, Jim?
This is a Rock Pi
I was going to
4B.
say, because if you look at the bottom of that, those chips are all different. The
The
location, the location of the ports and everything looks like it lines up with a regular Pi, but the chips are different.
It does not.
They-
This is a Rock Pi.
Yeah, well, if you look, I think they hold that up. I think some of the side ports might be different, but there are a lot of companies that make SBCs with the footprint of a Raspberry Pi, so you can reuse the cases. So that's
Yes.
not an uncommon thing. Like that
hold it
SD
back.
card looks like it's sticking out a little bit far, but we won't
Hold it back a
is.
little bit so
that SD
is your
card
light-
sticks out a long way.
It's not getting any light on it.
Yeah, I know. There's no
Unfortunately.
light up behind the
Oh, okay.
camera.
But
So
one of
this
the things-
has- oh, go ahead.
so I don't remember exactly. What I was just saying the
Just a
footprint of a lot of those
Scotland.
knockoffs. So like I bought a bunch of these orange pies, and
I got one coming.
then there's a couple of different Ubuntu distros that they've made for that, for ARM processors that you can run on that. You can't run Raspbian on it, but on my Raspberry Pi, I used to have a Raspberry Pi upstairs on my desk that I would use just to check email and stuff like that. And I run Ubuntu Mate on there, and it worked really well.
Is your pinky up when you said that?
Well, son, that's what it's called. And
Yerba
my
Mate.
shack computer, like Chuck was talking about it, for 2 years, my shack computer over here is a Raspberry Pi 4. I think it's a 4 gig. I have an 8 gig somewhere. But whenever I do any interfacing with cat control for my 7300. It's all with, and it has always been with the Raspberry Pi.
With the Pi.
Yeah. Now I did a video a while back, and it was called like Vacation Ham Radio, where I took a Raspberry Pi 3B and I had it mounted to the back of a 10.1 IPS display that I loved. And I used a little Bluetooth keyboard to work it. You can do that, or the other thing is that you can set up VNC server, and then I use my Android tablet to just VPN.
Yep.
Like, it's not VPN, but
not VPN.
to tunnel
VNC.
tunnel into the Pi, so I can see the display.
Yeah. So
right
there's Ape mentioned Orange Pi, which is a single board computer that is somewhat similar to a Raspberry Pi. This is a Rock Pi. There's a couple others, and I cannot remember the name. There was a video I just saw on YouTube a couple weeks ago of computers that are similar to the Pi. Some of them, the big thing with them, like Ape said, you can't necessarily run the Raspbian distribution of Linux on a Rock Pi. But if you go to Rock Pi's page, there are multiple distros of Linux available that are designed for the Rock Pi. So this is running Ubuntu 2004 on the Rock Pi.
Nice.
I have this hooked up to a 3D printer, and this has got Octoprint on it. And that's the only thing I'm doing with this thing, because this was like hey, I want to buy one of these and see if it works.
They're talking about
like
this
512K. This is a low memory one.
It does. Yeah.
They're talking about this Asus SBC. I want to say it's called a Tinker board or something.
Yes, Tinker board. That's it. That's
Okay.
the other one I saw. Thank you, Stephen.
But
Welcome,
like I
James.
said, I've got a couple of
there we go.
Orange Pis, and I bought an Orange Pi Zero back in the day because it had power over Ethernet on board, which I thought was a cool thing.
It
This
is
is
a cool
the
thing.
Asus Tinker board.
What I started to say too, one of the differences that you'll find, some of these are exactly board layout identical as far as ports to a Raspberry Pi. Some of them are not. The one thing that you'll want to check, depending on what you're going to do with it, is whether the GPIO pins are exactly the same. And the reason that you'd want to do that, if you're going to hook up a MMDVM hat, these pins need to match, or else you're going to have to just make an extension thing and wire it in with DuPont pins.
You're going to have to fix it, or you're going to have to fix it.
Fix it.
Right.
Fix it.
And a couple of them, and I want to say the Orange Pis are identical pinned, I believe. One of these two
I don't
is
know.
identical.
Mine was
pinned.
an Orange Pi Zero, and it was square as opposed to like the Raspberry Pi Zero, which
Yeah.
is rectangular. There's also the banana pies that are
Banana
out there. And you know, it was cool to get it and mess with it, but there was too many problems with. I don't use the Orange Pi anymore. There was too many problems with getting stuff to work on it. It was like, I like Linux, I like hacking around, I like trying to get stuff to work, but it was overly difficult on that platform than with the Raspberry Pi and Raspbian. Or Ubuntu Mate, like I mentioned, is one of the ones I like to run on the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, I've got an Orange Pi coming, so I haven't ever messed with one of those. And there was I forgot who did the video, and I wish I could remember it because I'd post a link to it. But there was somebody did a good review
Armbian,
of
that's the name of it. Armbian is the OS that I was running on there.
right.
And they have another one called Diet Pie, which is like a Dr. Pepper themed. But Armbian is the one you want to run.
And it depends on what you're going to do with it. If you're going to use it to run Octoprint or something for a 3D printer, you get the OS on it, load Octoprint, and you're good to go. If you're going to put a hat on it, then the pins become an issue, and you just have to figure it out. I mean, it has the same pins on all of these things. They're just not laid out exactly the same way, so you just have to build a little adapter.
So Cape Cod, he says, can't wait to get an antenna. He ordered the
Go to the
the
Artemis.
Mercury, the Artemis or the Mercury.
Mercury.
Yeah, Mercury. Sorry.
Mercury.
Well, so if we're talking about antennas,
It is on the way.
I had my
It is.
Raspberry Pi set up with my Nano VNA on it. And that was a difficult install, but I got it on there and I got it working, the Nano VNA Saver. And what I would do is I would go outside with my Android tablet which is still connected to my home Google Mesh network. And then I could VNC to my Raspberry Pi. And then as I was adjusting the antenna in the yard, I could just look at the tablet and see the updates in real time, which is pretty nice. And everybody's like, well, you can do that with your Rig Expert. But what I had was all my coax line and all my feed line is part of the circuit anyway, which is extra fancy. So
here we go.
Here we
Are you
go.
adjusting your ham stick?
well, it's just we're on it. I mean, I'm going to talk about this. I got this. When you take a look at the very first generation of VNAs, I would agree that it doesn't really compare or compete with the Rig Expert. But then when you take a look at something like this,
Sweet.
That was my breath being taken away.
metal case, touchscreen display, right? So I can just touch stuff and see how it just changes on there. Like if I hold this down, then I get this little menu where I can change things. It has an internal SD card where I can save my calibrations. It's the way
Cape Cod, yes, you can. Drop a question.
Sure.
I'll never think about a Rig Expert again.
You don't think about them anyway.
Well, especially not now.
Son, I got the Libra VNA. I can't afford to buy another VNA.
Well, yeah, these are no joke. I'll give you that.
Man, I mean the
It's like,
Libra's
isn't
great.
that
but it's all
$1,200 or
software.
something?
No,
it's
600.
600.
You probably get a clone for $400, but $600 bucks.
I'll wait for some clones on AliExpress.
Bro, this goes to 4.4
350.
gigahertz. I mean,
350.
you'd be hard pressed. You'd be hard pressed to find a Rig Expert to do that.
Do you do a lot of gigahertz range? I mean, I don't. I mean,
What if
Hayden
there was an
does.
emergency, life or death situation where I had to?
I ain't got no radio that does anything at a gigahertz
Yet.
yet.
So he's
Well, I guess
asking
that's
about a
not
base station.
Go ahead, Cape Cod. Lay it on us.
What's your budget?
Yeah, it's a good
And a
question.
leg.
Get an ICOM. There you go. Question answered. That was for
I got to tell you, I
was
do
for John.
want to pick up the 710, the Yaesu 710 pretty bad.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I'm thinking it's
Why?
going to be sub $1,000 and it's small, right? I mean, it's not pocket size or anything like that, but it's smaller than the 7300. I think that would be a pretty nice little doohickey for out and about.
Ooh.
I don't think
at
you
you,
can do a whole
son.
lot better than that 101 Cape Cod, but the 7610 is like the Icon version of it.
Yeah. Those
But
are all
it de-
good radios.
It depends on what if you're going to add an amp, I wouldn't get the 200 watt.
Yes, we
MP.
do, Stephen. Yes,
Thump
we do.
Thump has the 200 watt. He has the MP,
The MP.
and it's sweet. Like he has a setup with he bought the extra remote control pack for it, and I've remote controlled it a few times. It's nice. I mean, you're talking about 5K, right? You're talking about $5,000 radio, but
Yeah,
it's
40 something.
I remote control my
46,
7610.
42.
yeah, but
With my iPad or my computer.
I like a 7610, and that's what I want. I want a 7610, but that MP is nice. I'll leave it at that. It's real nice, but it's
Getting up
huge.
into-
It's
yeah,
like this
it's a
big.
big radio.
Well, it comes with its own power supply, and doesn't it come with the speaker that comes with it too?
think
I don't
so, yeah.
I don't think you have to buy the speaker, but it does. It's
I
a
think the- I
secondary
think the-
external.
Isn't the power supply in the speaker? Maybe
It
not.
might be. I know
If
that
you
you
use
need
that thing,
power
yeah.
supply for it.
It's a
4300?
46 watt or 50 watt or volt. Excuse me, volt. It's not
Cape
a 12
Cod,
watt
what is
radio.
a 4300 open box?
I think we recommend a 7300.
$4,300.
The 101 he's
open
talking
box.
about. 4300.
Oh, for the 101 MP?
That must be an MP.
Yeah, because the D does not cost $4,300.
It's like $100 cheaper than a 7610, I think.
It's in the ballpark.
About the same
yeah.
price.
Yeah. 4300 open box. The 101 MP was like 48, 49. So that's probably a good price. But now that's kind of isn't that
It's-
kind of a contest oriented radio too? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's a
more
lot
to
of
it than
radio.
just
Either
the
one of
extra
them's a lot of
100
radio.
watts.
The
Cape Cod,
MP?
if it's in your budget, man, that's a radio to have.
It
Oh,
is.
the MP comes with everything pretty much. Because the 101, if you look at used 101s or open box 101s, sometimes they're all at different prices. That's because they all have different options in them.
Right.
So
Sam, we never stay on topic.
Sam, there was a squirrel ran by, and there you go.
Oh, Sam, we're just answering a question, man.
Sam lives down the road from me, so if he gets too sassy, I can
You know where
drive,
he lives?
I
You're going to
to
drop in the pickup with no tailgate and drive down there.
Saying
Gonna cut his. You're gonna cut his coax.
I'll cut his cable. I'll cut his cable. Don't be sassing,
That was a lot.
Sam.
That was a lot
Too
of
new here to be
CB stuff.
sassing that much.
Look, like, I'll cut your coax, boy.
That's
I'll
right.
come
That's right.
down
I'll hunt
there,
you down.
get you real good. Cut that coax.
We'll triangulate you.
That's right. So
Had
with
a-
Raspberry Pis, the biggest thing that most hams do is Pi Star. And I have Tio. You got something shared.
Oh yeah, I'm just. I said, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
He's playing. He's doing FT8, man.
Oh. Okay. Well, he
We're
shared
too
it.
boring for him.
I'm
See,
at
like,
the
let
ready,
me ask you a
man.
question. Like, why do you have to change the color of the Pi Star background?
because I hate that other color.
Red? You don't like red?
It's not red. It's rusty
It's-
orange.
It ain't
It's-
no
it's
rusty orange.
fire
I
alarm
never
red.
been so sensitive to color palette in my life.
I just
I just don't
because
under-
I want to change
somebody
it.
who's
Is
so
that all
bad
No,
at
you
color,
want to
he
be
likes it blue.
fancy. You want to be fancy, boy. Changing the color. Be like, look at me.
Just want-
I change the
Oh
color.
my lord! Because this other color sucks. Sucks.
Just look. I don't know. It's just fine with me.
Yes, oh man.
But you're right. The Pi software is one of the primary uses for ham radio operators.
I don't know what you're talking about, Ape. I mean, mine's fine.
What are you talking about?
My Pi Star dashboard. This is.
Is yours
this
a goofy
Jim's.
color like that? Where you're like, I want mauve.
No, mine's blue, like it should be. I don't know what you're
No,
talking
it ain't. It ain't like
Yeah.
that out of the box.
Grown men
Oh.
use blue.
about. Yeah.
No, it ain't.
You're right. You're right. It ain't like that out the box, and there's a reason because the box color's fugly.
I'm gonna call them Brits up and tell them you talking mess,
I don't-
and
I
then
don't-
see what happens.
I don't care. They eat pudding for breakfast. It's wrong. And it ain't got
Bangers.
no pudding in it.
It's blood pudding. They got a breakfast over there. It's called the Full English. Have you heard of this thing?
No.
It's got
Can we
sausage
talk-
on
oh,
there.
it's- yeah, we can talk about it.
Baked beans. They bake beans for breakfast over there.
So one of the biggest uses of, good Lord, it's like playing cards with my brother's kids. One of the biggest uses of a pie is
Marvin's right.
is hotspots. What did Marvin say?
He said
Right,
he's trying to be fancy, boy.
He's fancy. And the PiStar software, they have their own distro. It runs on, it's Raspbian based, isn't it, Steve? I think.
I don't know. I think it. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
got to be. It's got to. Who in the right mind would not do it that way?
It's not a typical Raspberry Pi setup though. It is a
Right, it
dedicated
is.
bootable only thing.
Right. It is Linux, and it is basically the same Linux if you put straight Linux on a Raspberry Pi, but it comes straight up into PiStar and runs has all the stuff, the correct files and everything loaded already, so it's designed to be set up straight out of the box as a hotspot. And of course, as a hotspot, you can do all the different digital modes, YSF, DMR, P25, and XDN, D-Star, and the Pi software, and this is a point I want to make. The Pi software will cross mode. If you have an open spot 4 now, there are 2 of them. The newer one, you have to buy the Pro to get it to cross mode, and the cheaper one does not cross mode, but the cheaper one is still about $300, and this is free. And if you can find a Pi, it's still considerably less than $300.
Can you get a command line on that, Jim?
Yeah.
Take your time. Take your time.
I got Corona. Shut up.
A D-Star login.
That's the name of his Pi Star is D-Star.
So let's get a cat space.
Oh, look at you, manager, trying to act like you know something.
man.
I know.
Well, I'm going to learn you boys a little something or other.
He didn't say pseudo.
I didn't say nothing about no pseudo.
Whatever. Roll. What you want?
All right, I want a cat space /Etsy /OS dash release.
So it is
Raspbian.
It is
Guilty as
Raspbian.
charged.
Yeah.
Busta. Isn't Busta an older version?
Yeah. Bullseye's the new one. That's right. That's right.
All right, you can
And-
proceed about your business.
Well, that was a good point. So you have command line access. If you're Linux savvy, you can get in here and rock and roll from the shell. You can update your Pi-Star that way if you want to. You have access to all the functionality that's built into a Linux distribution. And then, of course, on top of that, yes, I know the changes.
Well, like when you install Raspbian, you do have the ability to install like a windowless, right, or GUI-less, I guess is the right way to say that, command line version only, very lightweight.
Yep.
And that's probably what they use to build this particular app on. And I've seen where people have actually installed and configured this app on a full-blown Raspbian image.
Right, you can. Now, one thing that this is not set up for is VNC is not on this.
There's no GUI.
Yeah, but you don't need it though, right?
No, because everything you're going to do on this, you can do through the web interface. So there's no graphical interface. Right. But now you could install, if you had a Pi 4 8 gig, one with plenty of memory, you could install the graphic interface and install Pi-Star in there and have a graphic interface and still run Pi-Star and use the Pi for other stuff. So it would work. So among the Pis, the current models of Raspberry Pis, you have the Pi 4B in 1, 2, 4, and 8 gig models. Is there a 1? Is it just go to 2? I can't remember. 2, 4, and 8, I know. You're muted there.
Damn. I think the Pi 4 only has 2, 4, and 8 gig.
Yeah, that's what I was
Version.
thinking.
I've got the 4 is what I use right here, and then I have an 8 upstairs that's in my emergency go bag. But I'm thinking about pulling it out and putting it down here and just switching the card. Right, just gonna switch the SD card.
Right.
And
it'll boot.
And then I
straight
can
up.
use.
Yeah.
And then I can use it on the set for the 7300.
And then you also have the Pi 400, which is I did a video on this a couple 3 weeks ago. The Pi 400 is a Pi 4. It's a 4 gig Pi 4 in a pink and white plastic keyboard setup, and it has HDMI power, obviously, networking. I mean, it's a Pi 4. It's got all the connections that a Pi 4 has, all built into a keyboard setup. So out of the box, all you got to really do is plug in power and a monitor, and you can rock and roll. So if you're trying to run a headless installation, you at least don't have to fool with the keyboard. You just plug in a monitor, do what you need to do, and then unplug the monitor and roll. And those are available. You can buy those. The Pi 400 you can find at all the electronics distributors generally for $70 for a stand-up Pi 400. And if you get the starter kit, it's $100.
Well, there's not the 400. They also have a Pi. Maybe it is the 400, but they also have one that you can buy and put in like a rack mount system.
That is a compute module.
That's it, the compute module.
It looks like a SODIMM, like a memory stick from a laptop.
Yeah.
I have not messed with the CMs, the compute modules. I've never screwed with one, don't have one, ain't seen one. I think I've watched a couple videos on it, and you can actually maybe find compute modules a little easier than you can find a Pi 4, but not a tremendous amount easier.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if I'd have any use for one or not. When they talk about like the headless, I use my Pi for my 7300 is completely headless. I don't think I've ever hooked a monitor up to it. But like I mentioned, I have a Pi 3B that mounted to the back of a 10.1 IPS display, and that was super duper handy. And I just plugged a little USB Bluetooth adapter in there and was able to use a full size keyboard and mouse with it.
Right.
It's kind of nice. I mean, it was just like a nice little. I only really used it to do things like I said, check email or the QRZ or something like that, and it worked fine for that.
You went on QRZ? Oh, that was before Toads.
Yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't. I would go on QRZ if I was looking up somebody's call
Carlos
sign.
Felix said you can find compute modules a lot easier.
One of the things I like to do is like if I make contact with somebody who's in a different country with my white trash setup that I have out back, I love to look at their antennas, and they have towers and beams and all this other crap. And I'm like, well, my little speaker wire doohickus I had set up at the time, But I know they're doing most of the heavy lifting with directionality and all that stuff.
See, there's a question from the people right there, Abe.
What's that?
Marvin, here you go.
Don't do it, Marvin. Don't do it. Don't fall into this trap.
Marvin, you're going to go to configuration. Y'all write these steps down. This is live. And then you're going to go to expert.
This is where he shouldn't be playing. This is water he shouldn't be swimming in.
I'm in the deep end of the pool. And then you go to CSS tool. Now, what I'm here to tell you, son, is the potential for you to screw the pooch right here is high.
Yeah,
Well, you put
because
here I can put a hexadecimal. I put a
You
hexadecimal
could-
value in for
You could put in some colors that you can't freaking read. However, if you can at least find the button down at the bottom, you can reset these colors to factory. But you have to look up the color codes. And what you want to look for on the internet is CSS color tool. And the nicer ones will have like a wheel. You can just drag it to whatever color you want, and then it'll give you the code. And you just put that code in here.
Who's got time to be doing all this?
I didn't
Jim.
write the software. I'm just showing you how to do it. Showing you how to do
Obviously,
it.
Jim does.
Don's saying the deep end of is editing config files with VI or Emacs.
Well,
I got to
yeah,
tell you,
Don,
man.
I could do that too, Don. I'm just showing how to use the.
I don't
GUI
know if you can.
interface.
We're going to pull up VI
I
and
don't
see how
believe
well
it.
you do.
I don't believe it.
Listen, I used VI once. I'm still trying to get out of it. And then Emacs, though, is the one I would always use.
:WQ bang. I used
There we go.
Emacs on
Well,
PDP
I want to see.
1170.
I want to see Jim type in the quick brown fox. What is the rest of that? Does
Quick
handstands
brown
on the
fox
carpet?
jumped over the lazy dog.
Pack my box with 5 dozen liquor jugs.
Right. I want to see you.
What?
See you hammer that
It's
out
another-
and save it.
It's another pangram, Jim. I'm surprised
Okay.
you didn't know that.
I never heard that one. No. No, I did not know that one.
So Jim,
Hey.
on the other hand, has a special website where he can hook you up with where all the latest pies are in stock and available. Show that one, Jim.
Oh yeah, okay. I don't have.
We got a
special
pie.
website.
We got a pie link. Is that what that's called? A pie link?
Yeah. So this updates. Oh my God! There they are, in Germany, in the
The
Netherlands.
the compute modules, yeah.
And in the berry base.
So that's the 2 gig model right there. Those are compute modules. But if you know Morton, ring Morton up on Ham Shack Hotline right now, and say Morton pop
Yeah,
over
wake
to
him up.
the Netherlands.
Can you get him, Theo? You got Ham Shack Hotline right there. Good morning.
Oh,
Carl.
he's
Can you just-
asleep. He's asleep.
It's the middle.
That
of
ain't our
bedtime.
problem. It is not our problem.
It's like
Go wake
4
his
o'clock
daughter
in
up.
the morning. 3 o'clock in the morning.
She don't have Ham Shack Hotline. He does.
Yeah, but it's right outside her bedroom.
He's
That's
also
his-
married
that's
to a
what-
woman who will probably put a cap in him if he that phone rings in the middle of
That's
the night.
on him. I see one of these is US. What is that? Pi Shop US Raspberry Pi CM4,
Yeah, so you
8
can,
gigabytes of RAM.
You can filter it
base.
by country or region, and then vendors.
And can you click on that? What happens when you click on one of them?
Well, hang on. So this is U.S. vendors for the Pi 4. And
Adafruit
there's-
right there, $45.
No. Do you see the giant no? Well, it's not giant, but you see the no?
Let's filter on that.
That means there it is. No.
Well, can you filter on that in stock?
I can sort it. And when you sort no, it still comes up no either
They're all
way.
no.
So they're all no, so nobody's got it.
Yeah. So
That's
what
why
you
we're
could-
getting $60 laptops from
Right.
Micro Center.
That's right. That's why we're buying those. So you can, if you use RSS, which I do, you can set a feed in your RSS reader. Oops. I didn't want to do that. You can also set a
I'm
Twitter
not sure about
alert,
these things.
so on and so forth.
We got one for sale for you, 65 plus $30 shipping.
That's right.
$90 shipping. So these everybody's like, these are the most fantastic ham radio laptops you can buy. Why does the ham need a shitty laptop? Like that's what I don't understand. Like why how does that become okay? I get that it runs WSJTX, but I don't understand. I don't understand.
I will say that it's as fast as any Raspberry Pi 4 you can get your hands on.
It could be, but
There it is. That's exactly the answer right there. Because you could load Linux on that and have a
Right.
useful damn computer.
But let's talk about it a little bit. If you do decide to load Linux on here, what's going to happen is that you're not going to have Windows on here.
Thank
and then
God.
when you have when you have a problem with Linux, you're going to want to go back to Windows. And then when you install the generic Windows installation, you're not going to have any of the drivers that make any of this bullshit. I'm starting to get upset. Work. So that's going to be one problem. Now, I've watched exactly one
Make a
video
backup.
from HamTubers on this thing, and that was
So
Rhea.
he is an expert.
So you know everything, yeah.
Well, I'm going to explain stuff to you that you haven't heard.
Here we go. Oh my God.
And so when Rhea did her video on this, she took it apart and she took a look, and there was a cellular card that was in here that she took
4G
out.
modem. Yep.
There was an M2 card, right? A SATA card. I opened this baby up, I cracked it, took all the screws out and all that stuff, and I don't have that card in here.
Oh,
Like I don't even have the
What?
slot.
that's how they got you.
The slot for the card doesn't exist. So then I went and I looked up the model number of this, and I did some research that I haven't heard anybody talk about. All I heard is how great this is. This is Model 3. This is the third version of this laptop. You have to get version 1 or version 2, maybe. Version 1 has it. I don't know about version 2. That has the SATA port that you can put that card in. So I ordered the SATA drive and everything because what I wanted to do is and you're in the same boat, Jim, because you have the same model number.
Son of a biscuit.
And so I ordered it. I had to go and cancel my order for the drive because I wanted to set it up for a dual boot that I could go into Linux or Windows 10. Right? It is Hollywood.
Not on a 64 gig hard disk.
But I'm not done. Like I haven't heard anybody talk about how the fact that the Celeron chip in this laptop doesn't support Windows 11 doesn't support it.
So
you're
version
stuck on
3 were boned.
So you're stuck on Windows 10.
Is that what your
Stuck on
dossier
Windows
says?
nothing.
Well, and if
version-
you do,
Version 3, we are boned.
we're boned. And then so when yeah, that's right, Don. You screwed him over. And then if you want to start talking about Linux, people are like, well, I'm just going to install Linux on this baby. The earlier versions of Linux, you can go and you can plug a USB to Cat5 connector, dongle in there, and then because once you install Linux on here, you need to update it, and then you need to install libraries, and then you need to go to GitHub to download the network drivers, and you have to compile the network drivers, and you have to put the network drivers on here.
If he's going to be whining, we got to make him full screen.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure that those network drivers work on version 3 of this laptop. Based on what I'm seeing, they do not. The other one is that this has a very specific sound card in here that needs your special drivers. Linux only supports the version 1 of the laptop sound card. It doesn't
You have
support
been
version 2.
researching stuff today.
I've been researching this like crazy. And so what I'm saying is it wasn't difficult to find this stuff out. So that's what I don't get about this is the best damn laptop for hams.
Well, no,
Because
I
it's
never
not
said
the best
that.
one ever.
I bought a $60
I know you- I know
cheap
you- I know
laptop
you
just to
didn't.
screw with.
But
That's
it's
all.
actually one of the worst laptops for hams.
That laptop is
saving
killing
grace-
ham radio.
The
It
saving
is.
grace is it was $60. So if you drop it, lose it, it gets stole, leave it in the car and it gets cooked, whatever. It doesn't matter. And it works on
Stoled.
12 volts.
Yeah.
And it
There's
works on
also
12 volts.
apparently a bit of a quality control issue. Don hooked me up with mine. He got him. He got one for him, and he got one for me, and then shipped mine to me. And I want to be very clear.
Look at that crooked ass right
this
here.
is
Where my
in no
SD
way
card-
related to Don's problem at all. Thank you, Don, for helping me out.
My SD
the
card's
one I
supposed to go in
have-
there and it's all crooked.
The one I have has a line across the middle of the screen of dead pickles. I mean, a line.
Pickles. Dead
I
pickles.
can't talk. My head. I
Dead
need drink.
pickles, man. My
Well,
wife
look-
made pickles yesterday, man.
Don's
My
talking
wife will
tough.
not bring me down. She won't bring anything down here.
I have an FJ laptop. Don's talking tough about he writes device drivers. Well, let me know when you get them. When you get them written for.
He's
this
already
thing
got
for
one of
Linux.
them written.
Probably.
He's
does.
already done it.
Which one? Which one?
The Wi-Fi driver. Don's the man.
He's using that. He's using the one off of GitHub. And yeah, I bought this card
So?
for mine because I can't use the SATA drive. I'm going to use this 250 gigabyte A2 Extreme. This damn thing cost almost as much as the damn laptop.
It probably did. That's exactly right.
18
Oh,
bucks.
man.
Come on.
So you spent a lot of time on the drivers and the versions and all that.
I did a little investigation. I'm not doing a video on it because I don't want to deal with the drama and everybody being like, "You hate ham radio. You hate ham. This is the best thing in the world."
You're just being.
But I
an
do want to speak
elitist-
realistically
An
about
elitist
it.
snob.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Listen, I'm glad I have it. I've been using it. I have fun with it. But the thing is it's a shit top. So I thought I put on my Twitter post. I was like, look, I got the
I
shit
saw
tops.
it. I shared it. I thought it was great.
But
I thought it was hysterical. Well,
But,
so that was kind of my alternate plan, was to load Linux on it. I don't know.
well, I mean, you can, but just know that it's a one-way mission, son. It's like the trip to Mars. Once you install Linux on here, you are not getting a Windows, and you're not going to get all the
see, and I
Windows
don't-
drivers and all that stuff.
And
in
I
it.
don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
Man, have at it. The whole reason I want this is because the damn DMR radios all require Windows to install
Yeah.
the software. That's
Yep.
it. Right. So that is the only reason I have it. And then I will use it. To me, it's easier to use this than it is a Raspberry Pi and VNC and all that other stuff. This will be a lot easier for portable operations.
Right. And that's actually probably a pretty good idea, because then you could get all your programming software on one shit top together.
Right. And that's that. Just be done with it.
Yeah. That's
Hey,
actually
Todd.
not a bad idea. Now, the other thing you could do with this potentially is, if you had, since we're talking about Raspberry Pis, if you had a thumb DV, you could use this as your
Hey, Todd.
hotspot as well.
Yeah, I mean,
With
there's
Windows on it.
utility. There's utility here, but instead of
You're not
us as
running
hams,
Photoshop on this bastard. It ain't
right,
happening.
when as hams is we're like, hey, we're ham YouTube Elmers. We shouldn't be saying that this is the best laptop for hams. What we're saying is that this is the cheapest laptop in the world, and you can still do ham stuff with it, right? Because it's not the best anything. It's not good at anything.
Lon, I thought about the netbook thing. I used to have a Dell netbook that I made a Hackintosh out of, and it worked okay.
It's
But I
got two
think it was
one
faster.
one USB 2 port and one USB 3 port.
And a C, doesn't it?
That
It
blue one
has
right
a-
there.
This is a
USB
micro. No. That's a micro HDMI port.
No.
Oh,
It's a micro
it's not
it's a-
DVI. It's not ready for ham. Sorry.
It's a micro
Sorry.
HDMI port.
It's not ready.
There's
for ham.
one each. There's a C port on the other side.
There is not. There is not.
Well, you must.
So on this side, I have one. I can't see because my eyes are bad, but this is either the headphones or the power port.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
USB 2 and SD card, and then right here, it's either the power port or the headphone jack. I can't tell. USB 3,
and then
and that
HDMI.
that is micro, or maybe it's mini. I don't know, HDMI, but that is an HDMI
port.
variant.
Wow, not even.
And everybody's like,
USB-C.
Yaesu can't do an HDMI because it costs too much money. Well, here's a $60 laptop with HDMI. On it.
Right.
Saying.
So I'm going to call bullshit on the licensing crap.
Well, we know that that's not true. It's other stuff, but we know it's not licenses.
Right. And
So
it's a
Don says he
shame.
does use an external sound card for $7, and that's fantastic. But now you got that nerdlet hanging out the side that you're going to bump into something and bust your USB.
All right, Cape Cod has an antenna question.
All right. Well, we might not, right?
Why not? Cape Cod, drop your question. Don's gonna run Da Vinci right after a monkey flies out of my butt.
Oh man, mine doesn't even like Da Vinci very well.
2, Lon, a 2 and a 3, one each.
Well, the thing is that when you install DaVinci, it runs in single thread mode until you pay for the licenses.
Pay for it.
Right. And so if you have a multi-threaded processor, it's going to speed up. It says you got an eight threaded processor. It's going to be 8 times faster once you buy the license.
Ron, if Yaesu put an HDMI port on the radio, they would be in this decade and the current millennium.
Wait a minute. Wait. Icon doesn't put one on either.
I'm just
Yeah, they
saying
had the
don't,
common decency
and they
not
don't.
to screw their users.
If
over.
either one of the big two
Right.
put a freaking HDMI port on the
Elecraft
radio, it would
does.
be awesome.
Buy an Elecraft then.
Hippies.
Buy American-made radio. It has it.
Well, that's what you're going to be stuck with when this whole China-Taiwan issue blows up over there. I'm sure y'all following that in the news.
You just think there's a chip shortage now. All right, no politics. Cape Cod.
Well, it's not political, right? Like we had a chip shortage for whatever reason,
right.
but 90+% of chips are made out of Taiwan, who's about to about to have
be
its borders
invaded.
locked. Right,
Yeah.
right. Once that happens, like your electric toothbrush upstairs has got a Taiwan chip in there. Your refrigerator's got a Taiwan chip. Your toaster oven. Once all that stuff breaks, you're gonna be in trouble, son. You're gonna be in real trouble.
All right, answer the antenna question since you're on a roll tonight.
How far do you need between an off center fed dipole and a vertical? I don't know, 50 feet. So
I've set up verticals right underneath mine before, so
I mean, they'll interact a little bit, but
yeah, just get a few feet, like 10,
so
15, 20 feet
the
away.
right answer was actually posted in the ham radio sub chat of Toad Discords today, because I was asking what is a far field. Maybe it was yesterday that I asked that. And so what you do is when you look at antennas and when antennas are operating, you have near field and far field radiation patterns. Your near field radiation patterns is all the different things that are coming off of that antenna and everything locally that it is reacting to. So it's adding either capacitance or inductance and messing with your pattern. Once you get about 2 wavelengths away from your antenna, the near field dissipates and you have your stabilized far field, right? And so the real answer is 2 wavelengths of the band that you're operating on. So if you're operating on 20, 40 meters away is where you won't have a problem. The practical answer is that whatever you got space to put it up and have fun.
Do it.
Right?
Just put it up. Looks like
Don's a professional.
We got a holy war going on. DVI versus USB-C versus DisplayPort versus HDMI.
I love this comment. HDMI is 10 years ago. DisplayPort, gentlemen, please.
DisplayPort's only 5 years ago.
I thought DisplayPort was older than HDMI.
It is. It's old. I don't know that it's older, but it's old. Thank God Jim's muted.
thank God Jim's muted. Isn't that the original Thunderbolt port on older Apples, similar to DisplayPort, I think?
Is it?
Or the original power one? Those weren't that great.
I don't remember.
Well, what about when they FireWire? What exactly was the FireWire?
FireWire came in 2 flavors, 400 and 800, and it never caught on, and Apple 86'd it.
I remember, man,
It was
when,
like
when
for external
FireWire was
drives
coming
and
out,
stuff.
everybody was hot. They're like, man, this FireWire going to change the game. It's going to be different. And
I don't know.
it didn't last very long.
Well, I
Licensing
think it
fees.
came out after USB 1 and right around the same time USB 2 did, maybe. And USB 2, if I remember right, was faster anyway. There was a lot of people used it for a little while for external hard drives and video, believe it or not. Video cameras, a lot of higher-endy ones had FireWire in them for transferring files.
Man, I remember setting up like SCSI stuff and all that.
It was
You
like
thinking that-
Betamax. Gone. Disappeared. Oh, yeah, I did that. Ton of that back in the day.
What a pain in the ass, right?
It was, we used to do, we had these things called differential SCSIs. We were setting this junk up for the Air Force, and it was a external SCSI cage with these full height 300 meg SCSI drives in it, dual drives. They were $3,300 a piece.
Probably weighed 70 pounds each.
Some businesses were huge. They cost about $3,300 a piece. That was the Air Force price. I don't know what they really cost. And the 2 Unix computers, they were AT&T 3B2s, were hooked to it at the same time. And so it was like a hot thing. If one of them crapped itself, the other one could take right over. It was really cool.
Yeah,
That
Marvin's
was a
saying
long time
FireWire
ago.
was hot swappable. I remember the first time I saw that.
Yeah.
Where my boss goes up and he's like, "Hey man, watch," and he just yanks it. Servers running, production system and everything. You should have never been doing this, but he goes over and just yanks a hard drive right out of it, and everything was fine.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
Like, wow.
Flex radios with FireWire. Oh, Carlos Felix, I think you're right. I believe he is correct. The original iPod had a FireWire connector on it.
So that
Odd. Yeah.
that real wide connector, is that what that was?
No, that came after FireWire.
I can't remember. I thought FireWire was like really small, almost like a lightning bolt adapter or
It's,
lightning port adapter.
Yeah, it's real similar.
But
Think of
honestly,
about a half
I
size,
can't remember.
half the width of a USB connector and a little fatter than a USB connector. kind of like a display port, almost that size ish. Yeah.
Well, we did a really good show on Raspberry Pi today.
Well, I wanted to point out to all of our viewers who have been watching, thank you.
Wonderful people, everyone.
All of us, well, not Chuck. I don't think Chuck has one. But Ape and Steve and me and I have multiple videos on Raspberry Pis and Pi Star and setting up DMR and radios and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, so feel free to look at those and hop into Toad's Discord, the friendliest place this side of QRZ.
But the thing is, like, it's nothing to be afraid of, right? Like, so I get that folks are like, well, I don't know Linux, and I don't know. The tricky part is formatting your SD card, which is easy enough if you get a good instruction. And once you boot into it, it looks just like Windows. You know what I mean? It's not really much. It's not really much different. I think that people get worried about Linux. It's not like it was 15 years ago, 5, 10, 15 years ago. It's become I mean, there's kids out there, right? Like in 2nd and 3rd grade installing these things and,
Right.
and running around with them.
Child labor. So here's the deal. If you install it and it gets screwed up, start over.
So what?
Right.
Reinstall it.
Yeah.
So what, right?
Reach out to us on Toad's Discord. We'll help you out with it. Somebody will help you out
Absolutely.
with it. And it ain't your daily driver. It's your toy.
Right.
Hot rod it.
Right.
And if you, the best advice I could give right now is if you're interested in messing with a Raspberry Pi, get a Pi 400. You got a keyboard with it. It's got a standard size HDMI. It's got a hard network wire. It's got Bluetooth. It's got
Well,
Wi-Fi.
Anime, that's what she has as her main computer, right? Didn't she do a video
400,
on that?
I think she did. Mm-hmm. And you're using it as a daily driver with your radio, right, Ape?
I'm sorry, I was reading comments. Would you ask me?
You're using it with your 7300.
Yeah,
Regular.
so I have a Win 10 machine here. I know I don't hear.
Oh,
And what I do is I just VNC into my Raspberry Pi, and that's what I use for anything that I do, any cat control or anything with the 7300. I installed Slackware in '96. I'm just going to say that, and so like
94.
94 rookie.
when the Raspberry Pis were coming out, and I was
Off
getting into
diskette.
ham, and I realized that there was a
150
marriage
floppy
between the
disks.
two. I was on cloud 9, like, and so that's when I set that up, and to me it was actually easier to set up FT8 on the Raspberry Pi than it was on Mac and on Windows. Just saying. And so,
But it's you know, the thing is, just re-image it. Go download the image file. You need to burn it to an SD card. Get something like Balena Etcher or Rufus or
it's easy. Right?
I don't remember. There's 27 apps that do that. If you already know how to use Linux, then you're going to use DD like a real man would. Otherwise, get Balena Etcher.
I use Balena, but you're right. You can use DD. Just make sure you pick the right
DDIF
drive.
equals. That's right.
Make sure you DD the right drive.
Make sure you Balena Etcher the right drive too. Either way. Oh yeah, something we didn't even mention. Mention. I can't
What did you
talk.
call me?
Mensch. I don't know
He's
what
still
that
got
means.
that- he's still
That's
got that
a Jewish
reduction.
word. I don't know what that means. I hope I didn't just swear badly.
I think it
means
means like
schmuck.
a bellyacher, like a bellyacher.
I used to date a Jewish girl. She told me schmuck meant a specific thing, and I should not say it around my mother.
Putts.
The Raspberry Pi Imager. You need to Google
Yes, that's even better.
that. Steve, can you bring that up on a web page?
How
Yes,
dare.
I can.
How dare.
The Raspberry Pi Imager is a well-kept secret, and it is a fabulous
I can
program.
do better than bringing it up on a web page. I can bring it up.
Do it without a pill. It's awesome.
It's booting.
So Raspberry Pi Imager will let you select from a number of pre-done Raspberry Pi distributions. If you
I'm gonna
click
choose
Choose
my
OS.
I'm gonna choose.
And so this is where you would download Octoprint, by the way, for your 3D printer.
32 bits, son. What are you thinking?
Oh, I just picked one. Chill, man. I can go 64. Boom.
Yeah, just say, dang, all right.
There you go.
But it's got this setting thing, so you can actually pre-configure your Wi-Fi. So it'll just boot, and then you can log in. You can turn VNC on, SSH on, and Wi-Fi on.
Do it.
Through the GUI.
Do it.
Hang on one second. I'm going to check one thing first.
Chip chop, son.
He wants to make sure that his SSID is not exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're all going to drive up to the
SSID.
middle of nowhere.
That always floors me. Like, I'm not going to share my SSID just in case you happen to be driving through my undisclosed location and happen to.
Right, and then we sit outside and try to bust it for.
Right.
Yeah. So give it a name. I called it metal because it's inside that metal case that I like. Enable SSH. Set a username and a password. That's not my password. It's not all stars. I'm more creative. Configure an SSID, and then put in the Wi-Fi password. And then tell it your time zone.
Go back up. Change the country too.
Yeah.
Or that will cause you Wi-Fi problems down the road.
Basically go through and set all of these settings and then hit save. And then when you create the image, it will be stick it in, boot it up, log into it over your Wi-Fi right away.
Boom.
That's pretty slick. Now, that's not always been the case. Like, that wasn't the...
It was
This
hidden.
actually was hidden in the
It
first
used
one.
to
You had
be
to press a
hidden.
special keystroke. Yeah.
Well, I remember
Control
back in the
Shift
day,
X.
like, you had to take your SD card, and then you had to mount it, and then you had to write a text file on there with your Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah, you can
supplicant.
still do that. You can still do
I know
that.
you can, but you don't need to. That makes it a
Right.
million times easier.
The only thing that is not in Pi Imager that I don't know why they don't do it, but Pi-Star is not in the Pi Imager selections.
Because they didn't pay the right...
I guess it's
offering.
like the HDMI license fee or something. I don't know.
Well, you figure they're all British. They would look the other direction on some of that stuff, right? I mean, the Pi-Star guys and the Pi guys they're all
They're the same guys.
right.
Okay, see, I feel better now. Thank you, Lon. And Don, there we go, Don. That's right.
You forgot the block size.
Yeah. He's taking the default block size.
And now I've got that Rammstein song stuck in my head. Achschmeck.
See, used to have a boss that listened to Rammstein. All the songs sounded the same. We
Well, they only
eat
had one
babies.
song.
And they said it in German, so it sounded really evil. We eat babies over and over.
Yeah, I never listened to that stuff.
Yeah, no. Free bird. Anyway, do we have any other questions from the chat while we are here?
I didn't see anything.
Guys, I would like to thank everybody. I am getting close to being freed from YouTube jail.
902.
As of, is that it? I was just going to pull it up. As of this moment, 902 subscribers and
Trailers for sale.
less than 200 hours of watch time to go
To
till I'm
let
free.
50 cents.
Roger Miller did that song.
No phone. I saw him in concert. I don't know if I should be admitting that.
Who?
Dang,
Who?
son. Roger Miller.
Roger
Stuff
Miller.
your mom
He-
listened to.
He
I'll
he
say,
played at
I don't
the
even
high
know
school
That's what she always told
auditorium.
me to
That's
put
how,
on the radio, so
how
I don't
far
know.
down his career path he was when I saw him.
Oh,
I don't even know who that is.
Dang me.
Yeah.
hey man.
Yep. Anyway, all right. If we got anybody coming on tonight after us, do we care? Since we're
Dave,
15 minutes
Dave's
over.
on.
Dave's on.
Yeah,
He's already
Kessler.
alive, it says.
Okay. All right. Well,
I'm
Abe,
free,
what have you
Dave.
got coming up?
Nothing. I got to do. I'm going to hopefully work on the video for this SV4410A, 01A VNA.
If you need some network help, you let me know.
Oh, I'm probably gonna. I probably will ask you some questions about that around the high
I want to
quality.
see how well that works because for that price, I'm like, I need to buy one of them.
Well, like I'm like, I wonder if I should stroll into the data center at work. I would probably get in a little bit of trouble for that.
Info security would have you. We'd
I,
get ya.
I ain't worried about them boys, but it's the network guys that I would worry about. Not, I just don't want. I want them on my side. I don't want to be upset. I mean, it's not like they can do anything.
Let 'em
but
play with it.
I
Here
wouldn't
you go,
want them
boys.
upset.
We are up live
Tom
against
today watch me
KB9
jump on
VBR.
it, feed.
So hold on a second. That's
What's that?
That's the guy with the ponytail, right?
Yeah.
It sure is. Michael.
Yeah,
Yeah, Michael.
Michael Martin.
Yeah, Michael does his
I
own
like
thing.
I like Michael, but if he thinks he's going to come up here and stream against us, then forget about it.
Charles,
No, he's
what have you
streaming against
got?
Kastner.
What have you got going on, Chuck?
I don't have anything going on right now. I'm going to try and do my 991, but I don't know when I have time to do it. I got a couple little antenna things I might do. I still have that little 70 centimeter antenna I have done a video on, so I actually got to use it finally. It works really good. Little Yagi, or a vertical, or a single.
Steve, what have you got happening?
I got some grief for doing my power test, so I got an even better MFJ power tester. We're gonna do a video on this coming up next week.
It's because the scale was wrong, right? Like people were upset about the scaling on that.
Oh, the scale was way wrong, but
Well, you probably deserve that. You probably deserve a little bit of grief.
Yeah, I deserve it.
If you'd made an RF sensing meter like me and Ape did, you could,
Well, I mean, just saying.
Well, that's what this thing does. But right now I'm running 200 watts through it just to see if it really truly is 200 watt capable. I'm waiting for it to start smelling funny.
Did MFJ send that to you, or did you buy that?
MFJ sent this one to me.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice.
That's
one.
very
good
nice.
People.
They sent mine to me. I had to give them a credit card for it.
Oh, I got a Comet GP1 dual band rate antenna in the mail. It got here today, and which I don't have it with me, but like on the packaging it says repeater and D-Star capable,
But not DMR.
Really?
No
So
YSF,
it's a digital
no DMR.
antenna?
I just wonder how much Icom paid Comet. You know what I mean? In order just to put D-Star.
Put the
But
word
can you
D-Star on.
imagine being the
So
guy?
it doesn't
going
work.
to
It doesn't work for fusion.
right?
No.
So can you imagine
No.
being the guy who rolls in HRO and be like, "All right, son, I like the looks of this antenna, but can I do my D-Star on it? I need to get my D-Star. Talk to the boys on the. I need D-Star." I just can't even. I don't even know why that would be on there.
Developers.
Is that half
Running out
wave?
of air.
I'd
Probably
have to
5/8.
look. Yeah, I have no idea. It's
It's
like four.
halfway.
It's like 4 feet long, but you don't know what's inside.
Oh,
the
it's
DVC,
4 feet
like-
long.
Yeah.
It's a.
Which would be
oh,
halfway
It's
for
not, it's
2
not a
meters.
mobile. It's not a mobile.
No, it has a pipe.
Oh,
It has a
oh.
pipe clamp at the bottom of it. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Right.
I thought you were going mobile.
No. I have a Comet SBB5 is the one I have on the Jeep. This is a GP1. It actually has like little ground plane doohickeys
yeah.
that stick off of it. So I'm pretty excited about the antenna actually. I just I hopefully I'll get it put up this weekend.
Don, I need to find
So
out
you
how
can
the
do D-Star?
PrepCom.
D-Star.
Don has his PrepCom now.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool. I still
Don's gonna be a CW
on the
fool.
fence about that thing, but
I'm over it. I want it. I don't want to spend that money on it. I can't. It's just
Yeah.
too much money for.
it'd be tight though, sitting there cranking out CW.
Oh yeah, because the OM would think, "Damn, this guy keys like a monster."
Be like his timing is impeccable. I mean,
That's right.
it would be pretty
It's
cool. But
perfect.
there were a couple of things around the filtering that you have to use when you connect it to your radio that I was like, this looks like a huge pain in the privates.
In the privates.
In the privates. All right, well, I guess I'm going to hit the button, fellas, ladies.
Yeah, thanks
gentlemen.
everybody. Had a great time tonight.
Thank you for coming. Please subscribe to my channel. Please free me from the YouTube jail. Free me.
Yeah.
Free me from the YouTube jail. I've got about 3 videos queued up in the next couple days. I got a couple more radios for my radio series that I've been doing.
Awesome. Told you it wasn't going to be 8.
Well, I know. I just, I got tired at 8, and I said, okay, I'm done. It's 8 radios, but I got more now. So I've got a couple, 3 more radios with that. We are trying to set up something to possibly have someone on the show that knows more about scopes than Ape and I, which is not a hard thing to do.
And that'd be awesome if we could get that guy. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. And he's all in for it. He just couldn't do it anytime like today or Saturday. So.
Well, I'll send some of the fellers over there, get him straightened out real quick.
Well, he
Be
said,
like,
I said, I already got something to do with family tonight. And I'm like, whatever.
that don't mean nothing. You'd be like, that don't mean nothing to me, boy.
I said, this is what launched Jay Leno's career, was guest hosting on Carson, son. We passed up
Right.
the Telemundo
Right,
girls
people
for
need to
you.
understand.
This could launch your career. Anyway, So we got that coming up. We have Tom the Dilettante will be here Saturday.
Saturday morning.
That's awesome.
Oh,
And
man.
Tom, we're going to talk about Tom's channel and the stuff he's doing. Tom has an HRI 200 and he wants to go all Wires X mobile. And so him and Chuck can like have a Yaesu bonding moment together.
Well, good luck with that
Hey,
HRI
you
200.
you got a Yaesu?
I do. I have a couple of them.
You don't have
actually.
the HR. You don't have the HRI 200.
No,
but
I don't
that's some
have the HRI.
configuring. That's some configure. You're under the hood on that one. You're in there trying to get everything.
Is that the mold? Is that the
That's
one
the
that
Wires
makes
X
it?
interface.
Yeah.
Oh, to do
That's
your own.
digital voice Wires X interface, the official Yaesu Wires X interface. So Tom's got that, and I said, well, we can talk about whatever. So
Well, I mean, you need a dedicated radio connected to that, so you got to configure
Yes.
the radio, you got to configure the device, and then you have to have it running on a computer as a host, and you got to configure all that.
So it's like
Yes.
your own repeater, right? Kind of.
It is, yeah, like it's a Wires X room is what they call it.
Well, let me break this down for you, Barney style, right here. Like Abe said, you got to do all that. That is a true statement. He is not BSing. We all know the Earth is round.
It's flat.
Oh, and aliens are real.
The
And
Bible says it's flat.
but you can also set up your own room with a Raspberry Pi, believe it or not, in free software.
Abe spends too much time in his own room anyway.
We have
Well, I'm thinking the Jim could put his own room on there, and it can be about science fiction TV shows, right? You
right.
call it the
Stargate is real.
Sci-fi net.
Stargate is real. They're just hiding it in Cheyenne Mountain until they're ready for the Goa'uld to leave.
Well, today's net, we talk about the realism of the Battlestar Galactica space-time continuum.
So say we all.
Also a darn good show. Yeah, I know. I know that, Carlos. That was for you, buddy. All right, kids. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it, y'all. Have a great evening.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Hey, everybody.